So this video is the final part of the character selection system for a templerun prototype. So the way we're going to store the character name in our store level and use this character name in our game level, that is again in the infinite runner level, this is our gameplay level over here. We need to use a special blueprint class called the game instance. So we can use the game instance to store any kinds of data that we want, such as score, the number of distance that we have covered, and so on, to be used in other levels. So the data that we are storing in our game instance is actually persistent across all levels. And the way we're going to use the game instance in this particular case is that every time the character name in here changes, we're going to save that in the game instance, and the game instance will then update the character name in our gameplay level, and that will allow us to change our characters in our gameplay level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the content browser over here. I'm going to navigate to the blueprints folder over here, and then right click, go to blueprint class, and in here we need to select on the all classes over here. We have this little triangle like icon over here, click on it, and in here we're going to type game instance. There we have the game instance selected. I'm going to call it BP game instance and double click on this. So what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to click on the plus icon over here in the variables and then name this GI character name. Again, make sure to change the type to string, and you can also change the variable to be public by clicking on this eyeball icon. And that's all we need to do over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the store content, and in here go to the store blueprint widget, and in here I'm just going to go to the graph view over here, then go to the text 0, and that is this text over here that I left behind in the previous videos. So now we're just going to add the logic to make the text update based on which character we are looking at. So I'm just going to drag the execution pin and type cast to BP camera, and I'm going to right click and type get player pawn. Connect the return value to the object, and then from the as BP camera I'm just going to drag and type character name. We're going to get the character name and basically connect this to the return value, and that's about it. Compile this and we can just test this out, and there we have it. It's currently updating. Female runner, cube runner. So our code is working. Now what we're going to do is go back to the event graph, navigate to the variables section over here, click on select, and then down here under events I'm going to click on the plus icon for on clicked button event. So over here I'm going to right click and type get player pawn. I'm going to drag the return value and type cast to BP camera, and after that I'm going to right click again and type get game instance. From the return value I'm going to drag and type cast to BP game instance, and from the cast to BP camera I'm going to drag the as BP camera and type get character name, and from the BP game instance I'm going to drag and type set GI character name. Connect the character name over here to the GI character name and make sure to connect the execution pin, and after that I'm going to drag the execution pin over here and type open level by name, and then I'm going to get the name of our playable level, and in my case it is the infinite runner level over here. So I'm just going to right click, select rename, and just copy the whole name and paste it over here, and after that I'm going to drag the execution pin from the open level and type remove from parent. So what this is going to do is when we click on the select button, it's going to get the character name from the BP camera and set the character name as the GI character name in the game instance. So the moment we click on the select button, our game instance will be updated with whichever character we are looking at. That will be stored in the character name over here in BP camera. And we're going to update the mesh of the playable character based on the character name that is stored in the GI character name. And after that, we're just going to open the level, that is the infinite runner level, and remove the widget. And then we have another button, and that is the return button over here. And the return button is going to just return us back to the main menu. So I'm just going to select the return button under variables, and again the same thing, we're just going to click on the onClicked button event over here, and then I'm just going to drag and type open level by name, and the name over here will be the main menu level. So that is this level over here, the main menu level. Again the same thing, I'm just going to try getting its name first by clicking on rename and then copying the name and pasting it over here. And again we're just going to drag from the open level and type remove from parent. And that's about it for all of the logic in the store level. For a quick test, I'm just going to run the game, click on the return button, and again go back to the store level again. Alright, I forgot, we haven't linked the store button in the main menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go to the main menu level over here. I'm just going to save everything, and in the main menu level I'm just going to go to the main menu blueprint widget, go to the graph view, and in here we have the store button over here, and we're going to do the same thing. Go to the onClicked button event, select it, and then drag, type open level by name, and again drag from the execution bin and type remove from parent. And for the name over here, I'm just going to go to the content browser and copy the name of our store level and paste it over here. And that's about it. Compile and then run this. Now we're going to click on the store level, and there it is. Return will go to the main menu, and the store button over here will go to the store level. And now if I just select some other character such as the female runner and click on select, nothing is happening. So if I go to mention something, go to the edit on the top left corner and click on project settings, and in here type game instance, and you will have this option called game instance and game instance class. We're going to change the default game instance class to the BP game instance that we have created. And that's about it. Now if I were to run this, I'm just going to select some random character and click on select. There, it's now working. So that was the reason why it wasn't working before. I forgot to mention that. But you can notice that our character really hasn't changed. And the reason for that is because we haven't added any logic for that. So we're going to do that right now. So we're going to go to the gameplay level, and for me it is the infinite runner level. And in here we have a couple of things to do. Open the BP third person character, and in here we're going to be adding a bunch of logic. So these logic over here are our old logic. I'm just going to create a group for them just to differentiate them all apart. And after that, I'm going to go over here, right click, type event begin play, and from here I'm going to drag and type switch on string, and then I'm going to right click and type get game instance, and from here I'm going to drag the return value and type cast to BP game instance. Just connect the execution pins over here, and then from the as BP game instance I'm going to drag and type get GI character name. and connect this to the selection on the switch on string. And on the switch on string, I'm going to click over here, the add pin like button area over here, click on it twice. After that, I'm going to click on the content browser, go to the store content, characters, and in here, I'm going to copy the name of all these 3 characters over here. So first I'm going to copy the name of the mail runner over here, right click, click on rename and just copy it. And then in the details over here, under pin names, I'm just going to paste the name over here. So we're going to do the same thing for just about how many characters you have over here. So if we have around 10 characters, we're going to click on this plus icon 10 times and then add the name of each and every character over here. And make sure that the names of these characters are correct. Any mistake in this and it will not properly show up. So we're going to just copy the name of all the remaining characters. And after that, I'm just going to drag this mesh over here. And this is our skeletal mesh. That is this mesh over here. Then I'm just going to drag the execution pin of mail runner and type set skeletal mesh. We can just remove this mesh over here. And what I'm going to do now is just copy this node over here and paste it twice. And then simply drag the execution pin to each of these set skeletal mesh node over here. So each execution pin is connected to a set skeletal mesh node over here. And after that, simply drag this mesh over here in the middle and make sure to connect it to the target pin in each of these set skeletal mesh node over here. And then in the first set skeletal mesh for our mail runner, I'm going to click on the new mesh over here and select SK mannequin. And then for the second skeletal mesh, which is connected to our female runner, I'm going to click on the select asset over here and select SK mannequin female. And for our cube runner, I'm just going to click on the select asset and select the skeletal cube. And the reason why we are selecting a skeletal cube instead of a normal cube is because, again, as I mentioned before, this mesh over here is the skeletal mesh of our character. And if I were to use some other mesh over here, then the animation that we are running with this skeletal mesh won't work. This animation class over here will only work with a skeletal mesh. And that is the reason why I'm using a skeletal mesh. If you don't want it, you can just not use it. For the sake of making this simple, I'm just using a skeletal cube over here. And after that, I'm just going to drag, or rather, I'm just going to compile this and see how this works. Alright, straight up running the project over here. Press on the P key, which will enable the pause menu over here. Click on the quit button over here and then go to the store. And I'm just going to select some other character. So I'm going to choose the female runner. Click on the select button. And there we have it. Our mesh has changed this time. So you can see how our code works. If I do the same thing for the skeletal cube, just quit it, go back to store. And I'm going to select the cube runner over here. And you can see that our skeletal cube over here, the mesh that we are using, is very small. So to fix the issue with the skeletal cube, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the execution pin and search for set relative scale 3D. I'm going to select the set relative scale 3D mesh over here. I'm going to just remove this mesh and copy this one and use it over here. And then we have the new scale 3D vector parameter over here. And in here, for all the X, Y and Z axis, I'm going to give a value of 3. Just like that. compile it, and now we're going to try running this again. Alright, so I'm going to press on the P key, go back to the main menu, to the store, and select the cube runner. And there we have a much larger cube. And again, this is just a demo on the type of characters that you can use on your game, and you can just modify this character selection system to however you want. Again, for each of these set skeletal meshes, you can add your own custom events or any other nodes that you want to do. And again, if you wanted more characters, you can just click on this add pin button over here and then just add the name of the characters to each of these, and it should work fine. To delete them, just click on this arrow icon over here and click on delete. And yeah, that's really about it for this character selection system. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye.